Speaking of
Bobby
scientists.
Kennedy. Speaking of scientists, what are we talking about today? Creatine loading.
Loading and cycling.
Loading and cycling.
Should we start again?
Yeah. Let's just kick on. We have done a previous podcast on creatine, sort of what is it, what does it do? So check that one out first. This is a bit of a follow-up because we get heaps of questions around...
Two particular things. Loading.
Yep. So do I need to...
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I was going to say something else.
Loading and soaking.
Loading and cycling, right? So loading is a phase of using creatine, larger doses than normal.
Yeah.
I
I think we need to start again.
to fully know.
I was going to say
No, we don't.
Okay, anyway.
All right, so loading and cycling. Give us your quickest description of loading, and
So-
why would someone load with creatine?
So, to take creatine,
Yes.
you need to it's all about accumulation in your body, right? So it's going to take you a few weeks to get to a certain point, like
Certain saturation.
certain saturation. Think of it like a ceiling, right? So if you take 5 grams a day, it might take you 3 weeks to get there. If you
Alright.
take 20 grams a day, it might take you 1 week to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So once you get to the ceiling, that's when you're going to see most of the benefits of creatine working.
All right. So you just achieve saturation quicker by loading.
So
the
once
point
you've
is
to
sort
save
of-
time.
Yeah, so what, a week of loading and then you go back to what, a maintenance dose?
Yeah, exactly. So typically loading is 20 grams a day for about a week or two,
Yep.
and a maintenance dose is about 5 grams a day.
Okay.
Fucking hell, 20.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So
about
what are some of the...
3 to 5 for maintenance? Obviously, body weights affect that as well.
Yeah. I think it's like 0.3 or 0.4 of a gram per kilogram of body weight.
Yeah, 0.3 grams per kg, which is probably more than most people think. But, for a 90 kg person, that is
That's 30
30
for me.
grams of creatine a day.
So what are some of the cons of taking 30 grams of creatine a day in that initial phase?
Well, with loading, it might just seem like, oh, it's such a good idea. It's going to get me there faster. It's going to take me 1 week to get the benefit instead of 3 weeks. But, everything has a trade-off. And what this might do for some people is give you a bit of GI or gastric disturbances, if you know what I'm talking about.
Because it can actually like drag water into the bowel, especially if you're using it with a pre-workout that's heavily caffeinated. Caffeine can have the similar sort of effect. So
Would it not just dehydrate you?
no, it actually probably helps to hydrate.
It would
or
help
you have
with,
to have
helps with water retention. But sometimes I feel dehydrated if I have that 5 grams of creatine too quickly without enough water.
One of the things with creatine is you have to have more water, right?
Yeah.
Like your creatine's going to, draw water into your muscles.
So to that point, if you're having 20 grams of creatine a day, but you're not having but you're having the same amount of water that you normally would have, would that not result in you being dehydrated?
I would definitely up my water.
That would result you in feeling dehydrated,
Yes,
because you're instantly going to gain weight, right? So you're going to be holding more water than normal. So
Within the muscle, though, holding water, I think there's this thing that people think it sort of bloats you when you're holding extracellular or intra what is it? Water outside the muscle.
Yeah.
But yes, you do need to up your water intake for sure.
What do you feel about water retention, Hal?
I'm pro.
Yeah. Nice. That's good, because here's a fun fact for you.
What do you mean? What do I think about it?
Like, some people are like, oh, is it just going to make me, puffy and hold water? And, is that all creatine does? Well, like, it's not a side effect, right? That's how creatine works, 70% of your muscle is water, right? So, by having more water in your muscles, you're going to instantly have bigger muscles, and it's going to actually impact how your muscles actually function. The actual muscle filaments, fibers in there, they're going to be functioning better at better hydration status.
Nice. So if essentially like someone who's cycling creatine is just trying to minimize that window between starting and feeling the full effects, what would the rush be? Why would you do that instead of just being a patient person and
I'm with you.
My
philosophy, I'm not a loading guy. I'd rather just take a normal maintenance dose over 2 to 3 weeks and get to the same point. What's 2 to 3 weeks out of a lifetime?
Exactly. Yeah.
Training.
Are you taking creatine at the moment?
Yes.
When's your next grand final?
12 weeks.
12 weeks. Are you going to stop creatine?
I love how he just assumes he's in the next grand final.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't missed a grand final on Thursday nights in about 3 years.
Yeah.
Are you going to stop creatine before then or continue?
Continue.
All right. Well, say, for example, you had you run out because last year, you might remember we had the global shortage of creatine.
Okay. Yeah.
And your grand final is in 8 days. What do you do? 5 grams a day or 20 grams a day?
5.
Well, you rather do 20 in that case, right? Because it's going to take you, you got less than 3 weeks, which is what it's going to take you to saturate your muscles with 5 grams a day. But if you only got 8 days to your grand final, you might as well just go for it and take 20 grams a day. I tell you what,
the assumption there is that 100% of my performance is based on the amount of creatine in my system and the effect of creatine. What about all the other training I've been doing as a result?
Well, do you want a performance-enhancing boost from creatine or not, right? Because, basketball is a certain sport that involves creatine-heavy activities. And what we mean by creatine activities, right? So anything that's less than 10 seconds, jumping, sprinting, all of this relies on your creatine phosphagen system. So, you're going to get a benefit.
You can look at any supplement, it's the extra edge on top of all those things.
Yes, but it's always going to be marginal compared to the rest of your nutrition and your training and the skills.
I think something like creatine can heavily impact performance. But I think the point Darren's trying to make is if you haven't been using creatine, like you've never used it, or you've had a break and you've got a major sporting event coming up, when in a short period of time, that's the time to load.
Good answer.
Yeah, if you've been using creatine daily and you haven't had a break and you've got your grand final coming up, you just continue with that because you've already achieved that saturation point.
Exactly. And, the other thing is when we talk about creatine, and we always say there's a lot of evidence behind it, a lot of the studies actually used a loading protocol when they studied creatine. So, some people say, well, this is what works, but our understanding of creatine has evolved a lot in recent years, right? And now we kind of understand that it's about hitting this accumulation, this top ceiling of when you're going to get the most benefits. The other question is, does taking more than 5 grams of creatine give you a benefit? Well, nobody really knows that yet, right? So we know 3 to 5 grams give you a benefit.
Well, the consensus is no.
Well, it's not. It's unknown. Right?
But most sources will say you don't need to have more than 5 grams a day.
I don't think it's been studied in enough detail to understand that yet. But
it's not a definitive answer.
Like a long-term loading phase, I don't think that's been studied.
No, but also, more than is enough to saturate your muscles, right? If there's a benefit in doing that, that's what I'm trying to say. We know there's a benefit in muscle saturation, but above that, nobody's really studied that yet. So.
And quick recap on what creatine does for the body. It helps to produce ATP, right?
Yeah. So
and your body can only convert so much creatine into ATP.
Yeah. So
more is not necessarily going to make you convert more.
True, but creatine has other benefits besides just ATP, right?
Yeah.
Recently it's been studied for your brain health, your cognition, sleep. All kinds of things. So, maybe there's some other benefits that creatine can help with, right? Creatine, it's kind of like an amino acid. It's made from 2 other amino acids, glycine and arginine. If your body didn't produce creatine, it would be an essential nutrient to have in your diet.
You use creatine?
Yeah, I've been using creatine nonstop for years.
For 65 years.
Yeah.
How and when do you use creatine?
Well, there's a very small amount of evidence that suggests taking creatine post-workout is actually the best time to take it. But I just have it for breakfast. So I just put 1 scoop in my protein shake, and that's it.
Nice.
I'll be the same.
I'll have
5 grams.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll have 5 grams in a 2-liter bottle of water with, beta-alanine and some electrolytes, and have that whenever I exercise.
Yeah, nice. Well,
as long as you're ingesting it daily and training, non-training days, we were talking prior to the podcast, because you're trying to achieve the saturation point and maintain that saturation point, it's a daily use supplement.
Yeah, important to use it on training days as well.
Yep.
The only thing to consider is, when you're soaking it in your bottle for your workout, creatine is actually not that stable in water.
Mm-hmm.
It can convert into creatinine.
Creatinine.
Yeah. So it's best to try and drink it within 10 to 15 minutes after soaking in some water.
You told me like 8 hours last year. Where did 10 to 15 minutes come
well,
from?
maybe if you put it in the fridge
Are
or
you
something.
serious? 10 to 15 minutes.
Well,
Maybe
I
a
mean,
bit
it's gonna start
Bullshit.
degrading. So
Yeah.
that's why you don't.
Immediately. Oh, for fuck's sake.
just consume it
Yeah.
straight away.
But we're
It's
working
easy.
on some new technology, secret technology
I
in
get
the
like
background.
I get a headache if I have it in one go. Like if I have it too quickly.
That's got nothing to do with the creatine.
You reckon? I
No.
don't know.
A headache?
I notice a difference.
I think the best time is just put it in your protein shake.
Yeah.
You're not even going to notice it in there. Maybe a little bit of grittiness at the bottom, but that's
No, I
about
don't
it.
notice it at all.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
You drink plant protein as well.
I don't think it really matters when you take it, but most people take it pre and post. You half the dosage.
Yeah.
15.
What about cycling creatine?
Yeah.
So what does cycling mean? Basically, do you go on and off creatine throughout the year, like some people suggest?
I go on and off you every week, mate.
Well,
why, if you're continuously training all year round, why would you go off it?
well, I think,
Unless you're someone that has health complications like renal problems or...
creatine was one of the original supplements, right? So back in the day, when people were experimenting with all kinds of things in their bodies, including steroids and whatnot, they used to have to cycle it because of, the health effects and your body building up this auto-regulation and these feedback loops, and your body, might stop producing testosterone and things if you're on steroids. So people thought of creatine like that back in the day,
Yeah.
but really it doesn't. It doesn't have that same feedback loop. Creatine is not hormonal. It's literally almost like a vitamin, like an amino acid, right?
Yeah.
So people have been using it safely, very safely for years nonstop.
It is one of the safest and most proven and scientifically researched ingredients,
Yeah,
supplements.
And Hal
And
is
it's
saying
contained in food, right? As well.
Yeah, it's found in red meat. It's found in all kinds of things.
Yep.
Hal's saying, why would I take it just before my grand final? I've done all my training. Like, why wouldn't you take it? The trade-off for creatine is so low. Just a few grams of powder in your
I'm not saying
shake.
I wouldn't take it. I do currently take it. I'm saying like why would I? That was specifically for loading. If I haven't taken it and I have a grand final in a week, why would I suddenly change all of that? I might start taking it, but I wouldn't have 20 grams a
You
day.
gotta load up. Just
Yeah.
soak those muscles. Soaking.
It's all about saturation.
Christ.
Yeah,
Fuck the bed, baby.
yeah.
But no, so cycling would there ever be a performance benefit to cycling? Like, would you say have, I don't know,
Yeah.
ramp it back up?
Yeah, would you almost like carb cycling? Would it work the same way? Like the absorption be enhanced?
One of the main reasons why people cycle creatine at the moment is the fluctuation in weight, right? If you're in a weight sport, right, like martial arts, weightlifting, boxing,
It's just martial arts.
or you're a jockey, and you want your weight to come down.
Yeah, weight cut sports. You
Yeah.
want to get off creatine.
Yeah, it's probably gonna adversely affect your weight, right? Like we talked about at the start, you're gonna have all this extra water in you.
But you'd only have to get off sort of a week or two prior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably about 2 weeks to be safe, I would say.
Yeah, and you can actually use it to help rehydrate in smaller dosages, though, if you're weight cutting.
Yeah, or you can strategically use it to be a bit bigger and then strategically dehydrate for your event.
Is that more or less the only time that you would ever actually like cycle creatine? Is if you're doing it for the purpose of weight loss?
Yeah, I've been using it non-stop forever.
I've seen
So I
nothing.
don't-
I've seen no evidence that cycling creatine has any impact on performance, unless it's negative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be negative,
Yeah.
if anything. But
The only other possible downside of creatine is that there's one poor study many years ago,
poor study.
that
yeah.
creatine can make you go bald.
I was about to
what
say.
Do you know we still get that question?
Yeah.
People write in and ask that question, and Look, I've been using creatine, but it's made me go grey, not bald.
Yeah, I've been using it for a long time, but my whole family's bald.
Yeah, we should turn the cameras off for you for this answer, mate.
Yeah. No, but honestly, it's pretty much been debunked now that it's very, very loose linked to creatine and baldness.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do ask about it, though.
Baldness is genetic.
Yeah, you know, an ingredient's safe when they're clutching at straws for a weakness.
Ashley and Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, safe, effective, use ongoing.
So
Maintenance dose, 3 to 5 grams.
So for sport, loading, cycling. Yep.
Well,
we gave you when you could potentially use it for loading, but
I don't know about it, but you know,
it's
loading,
more of up to you. Yeah.
Cycling, if you need to.
Yeah.
So we're not providing a recommendation.
Our recommendation is to just take 5 grams a day every day.
Yeah, good.
For the rest of your life.
Regardless whether you're exercising or not.
I think there's health benefits, but I probably wouldn't be using 3 to 5 grams a day if I'm not exercising.
Okay.
I mean, it's primarily a sport supplement to enhance performance.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I think I said on one of the previous podcasts, the hospitals are using it in pregnant women with underdeveloped babies. So it has other health applications.
Some new research in Alzheimer's, all kinds of things that they're looking into it for. But, you know, right now, it's for performance.
Go and get your Musashi creatine.
Well, that's why I have mine during, because I notice a difference in energy if I'm consuming it while exercising.
If you're noticing it based on when you take it, I'd say
That's
a lot of
placebo.
that's just
It's
placebo.
okay. It's less so that
We just told you it takes 3 weeks to work.
Yeah.
You have to
Shut
research
up.
it.
It's less so that I'm noticing it. It's more that I notice when I don't have it. So when I ran out this time last year,
Yeah.
I noticed I didn't have nowhere near as much energy in my workouts, and that might have been a placebo, but I felt like I didn't have the same kind of
That's
energy.
when
Well-
specifically for sprint training.
But you actually ran out. Maybe the timing wasn't as important, right? You just weren't having it.
what? Yeah.
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 But the timing of
But
having
that's-
it during
that's-
your workout wasn't as important.
Yeah,
as,
okay.
You know, when you
Yeah,
had
it's not important
Yeah.
at all. But yeah, that's when you notice most supplements, when you're not using them. Like if I stop using protein powders or whatever, I notice my recovery is weaker.
Yeah, I agree.
But you don't go, oh, I feel, that recovery was awesome. it's when you're not doing those things,
Oh,
you
you
go,
can-
oh my God, I'm still sore. I'm not usually sore. Or with creatine, oh my God, I'm struggling to get through my workout. I normally blast through this.
I noticed it when I started taking ZMA. Like my knees in particular after basketball were nowhere near as stiff.
Yeah.
Knees.
I hate deadlifting
Magnesium.
without pre-workout. Anyway, that's
Other supplements to use with creatine. There's lots of studies, beta-alanine, creatine together.
Yeah.
Beta-alanine, even protein and creatine.
Yeah.
It's a good combination.
When would you have beta-alanine with regards to exercise? Does it also not matter?
It's the same thing as creatine. You achieve
just a
like a
build-up.
saturation
Yeah.
point. It takes, 3 to 4 weeks.
Although with beta-alanine, you do feel something. You do feel the tingles straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's actually unrelated to its benefits, which are also related to, soaking those muscles and getting that saturated point.
That tingling.
Well done.
I know this is off topic, but that tingling is a heightening of nerve endings, right? That's why
Yeah.
you usually feel them in fingers and
Yeah.
back of the neck and
Paresthesia. So, wherever your nerves end, your lips, your nose, your face a little bit, and your fingers. That's where you
so
get
if it's stimulating like that, is it like that nervous system? Would it help you to achieve a stronger contraction, like in the gym?
I don't know. I probably need to look into it a bit more.
Or it might just be
Yeah.
gives you tingles.
That's not really how beta-alanine
No, it
gives its
doesn't.
benefits,
Yeah,
right?
no, it
Like, it's
doesn't.
about muscle carnosine and,
Yeah.
and lactic acid buffer. But anyway, creatine doesn't give you tingles.
No,
Doesn't give
no.
you any of that. So, yeah.
Any other questions, Hal?
Oh, well, the question you had was, what do you have creatine with? And I just said electrolytes just because they're tasty.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
electrolytes are
Watermelon
quite good,
electrolytes.
right? You got to
Electrolytes.
hydrate when you're on creatine, so that's a good point, Hal.
Nice.
All
Do you-
right.
do
Do you want
we-
to finish
Do you know what Miyamoto Musashi says?
about creatine?
Yeah.
About
He
soaking.
used creatine back in the when was it
Yeah.
1600s?
Well, honestly, if he did, he would have had a big advantage over,
Well, if he was eating
Some
a
of the
red
other
meat, he
samurais.
would have been getting some in.
well, samurai duels are very, very explosive.
Is human red meat, or is that the other white meat? Killed a lot of humans. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I wasn't eating people.
It happened, Hal, back then.
Not Musashi.
No, he wouldn't
No.
have. He was using protein powders back then.
He was all about intermittent fasting.
That would be some bad PR dude if you're telling people that Musashi eats people.
Mate, he
He actually ate a lot of rice. His
Yeah.
diet was well documented.
Nice.
Anyway,
That was when he wasn't doing keto, but yep,
but this is what he said about
creatine.
creatine. Not really, but this is what he said anyway. Do not, under any circumstances, depend on a partial feeling. Right? So, do not depend on a partial feeling like, should I, shouldn't I, don't sit on the fence. If you get a feeling and it's drawing you into something, then do it. Like with creatine.
Look at Hal, he's trying to make
If
the
you're taking
association.
if you're taking
Such a
one
walk.
gram of creatine a day,
I
that's a
like when they don't relate at all. We try to make
I
them.
know.
But if you're taking 1 gram a day, you're not saturating your muscles.
It's
you're
just
not
like, just don't half-ass it. 5 grams or nothing.
Exactly. Take 3 to 5 grams or
I've forgotten what the quote was. It was that week. What was it again?
do not, under any circumstances, depend on a partial feeling.
Mate, you got no riz.
Partial.
I'm reaching.
That's right. Shit up.
Another super successful episode. We'll
Well
see
done.
you all soon.
All right. Musashi out.
Musashi out.